one thing we got to take serious is the health of players. This episode is called The War of Attrition. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But we talked about, you mentioned, excuse me, changing teams changing. We just had the trade deadline go on November 4th. It ended at
Hmm.
4 p.m. We've seen some big moves all around the NFL, notably Sauce Gardner. We've also seen a speedster get to Seattle. The Seahawks, they have somebody to now run with that stud wide receiver. A couple weeks ago, we said Ibuka was the number one wide receiver from Ohio. I think it's
Ohio
changing
State.
up a little bit. Ohio State, excuse
Yeah.
me, I don't want to get beat up by somebody from Ohio State,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Ohio State. Uh, what kind of winners losers draft? If you had to sit here and say winners losers for trade deadline, who are you picking, Canty?
Man,
What
listen,
some big moves?
I think the Seattle Seahawks are the best team in football, and they got better at the trade deadline by adding Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver from the New Orleans Saints. This is somebody that could take the top off of the defense. The average depth of target for this dude is 20 yards downfield. So he's absolutely a deep ball expert. And that's going to give Jackson Smith and Jigba and AJ Barner and Elijah Arroyo and all of those other Horton, all of those other receivers from the Seattle Seahawks so much more room to operate. But here's the thing. You're
Hmm.
adding another arrow in the quiver for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold leads the league in air yards per attempt. So this is somebody that wants to throw the ball deep. He's second in completion percentage over expected, which is the metric that they use to measure the degree of difficulty on throws. So Sam Darnold is absolutely playing at an MVP level, and you gave him yet another big time weapon to work with. The Seattle Seahawks are going to have something to say about who wins the NFC. But the reason why I'm so bullish on this move and fortifying a strength for that team is because of the job that the Seahawks have done up front with protecting Sam Darnold. Darnold has only been sacked 9 times. He's been contacted a league low 35 times. This dude is clean. His jersey is clean at the end of the games. And if you tell me I get the talent of Sam Darnold with a guy that doesn't have to be pressured every single drop back, then all of a sudden I feel really good about the ceiling on what Seattle can be.
Now, I'm not going to talk about a rival, but I want to talk about family. The Cowboys
Mm.
did their thing. The Cowboys they forged a better looking defensive line, getting my
Uh-huh.
namesake, getting Williams over there from the Jets.
Yeah.
They've also got that piece, that middle linebacker from the Bengals. How do
Logan
you feel
Wilson.
about
Yeah.
that, Logan Wilson? How do you feel about that defense? Kind of putting some more money on that side, knowing that they did a great job at the start of the season. They've gotten Pickens. I think Milton, he's been a reliable backup, and we haven't seen him have to fully step in for Dak. But I think they're happy to have him. But you also have Williams. You got Clark that they got in that trade for Parsons. You got Wilson now at linebacker, Murray at linebacker, and then you also got yourself a cornerback earlier this season. Cowboys, are they buying into maybe making a run?
Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys are making a run. I think they're done for 2025. But what they did at the trade deadline is what I call pre agency. It's
Yeah.
getting a jump on their offseason acquisitions in the middle of the current season that they're in. Getting a guy like Quentin Williams at the trade deadline, that's a cornerstone piece, that's a building block piece to move forward with. So now you've added Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark, 2 outstanding run stuffers at D tackle. And then, of course, you've got the pass rush of Osil Digizua, a D tackle that they paid this offseason, and then you get the pass rush of Quentin Williams. I mean, it has the makings of being a dominant interior defensive line. And here's the thing, you got to earn the right to pass rush in this league.
Yep.
And those guys are going to help you stop the run on early downs so you can create longer downs and distances where you can bring in those exotic defenses, sub packages, nickel dime, quarter, and be able to tee off in the pass rush. So I love the move that the Cowboys made. And what they've told me they're about this year is getting rid of the French pastry and being all about the meat and potatoes. They
Mm.
are building a bully down in Dallas. And you might not see the instant return on investment. But trust me, when you look at what they did this offseason, when you look at the addition of Tyler Booker on the offensive line, when you look at what they have in Tyler Guyton and Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe, on the O line, when you look at what they have on the D line with those 3 D tackles, when you look at the investment in pass rusher with Donovan Ezeraku, 2nd-round pick, the Cowboys are building it in the trenches. And the most successful teams in the NFL, in terms of teams that have the longest windows to compete for championships, they are built front to back, middle out. And that's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys are doing.
So before I jump on the Sauce Gardner, because I really want your feedback, and then we're going to go to some losers and then keep it rolling. I do want to talk about the Eagles, and I think they've done a great job, probably putting themselves in a good position because that defense has been a little sus on the back end.
Yeah.
Getting Phillips, also a noob, so he's a noob. He's going to do good regardless. I don't care if he's a noob. Then we also got Jair Alexander, another noob. You put noobs on your defense, typically things go right. And then you also have Michael Carter II coming over, and then you have the veteran coming out of retirement. And you've said this a week or so ago that was a move solely for the locker room.
Yeah, Brandon Graham.
Yes. Are the Eagles one to be played with, or are we just seeing some dressing for something that's going to be out after the second round of playoffs?
Well, listen, nobody has more wins in the NFC than Philadelphia, and they're the reigning defending Super Bowl champs, and they got the Super Bowl MVP in Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
They got a pretty good situation going on. I'm curious to monitor what's happening with AJ Brown, but I think that they showed you their level of awareness in terms of understanding that the defense this year is not the same as it was a year ago. So they added a cornerback in Jair Alexander that they can hope to work into that rotation opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. They could keep Cooper DeJean at the nickel corner, which is where he thrives. Then you add to that pass rush, being able to add Jalen Phillips. I thought they lost a lot when in free agency on that defensive front with Milt Williams and Josh Sweat walking to get that bag of money after they won a championship. So being able to add to that group up front matters. If you want to help the guys out on the back end, give the opposing quarterback less time to throw with a better pass rush. And I think that's what they did. And the thing that I love about the Jalen Phillips move is that's something for now and for later.
Yep.
I think he has the potential to make an impact this year as the Eagles try to go on another deep playoff run. But this is a guy that's really, really young and that has a ton of athletic ability. So I love the fact that they're able to put him with that young defensive line and that unit can grow together. So Howie Roseman does it again. I thought it was great value being able to get Jalen Phillips for a third round pick, and you'll see where it goes. But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles are one of those teams that has their best football in front of them this season. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Now, one last team that was a good win, and last week we talked about buyers, sellers, and people that stay put. You talked about the Colts being a buyer. Now they picked up Sauce Gardner. I think that was a good buy. I think you wind up getting a Birkin for discount, but you gave up some picks. It's not too bad. I think for Sauce and what they got for Parsons, I'll take the Sauce package. Pause. But what do you think about that Colts fortifying their defense and making it look like they want to go on a nice little playoff run and maybe go for a Super Bowl?
Well, listen, man, to give up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, that's a hell of a price to pay. That is a steep price to pay, but they believe that they have a window to compete for a championship. And why shouldn't they think that way?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nobody has more wins than them in the AFC. You have a situation where the Baltimore Ravens don't look like they have in the past. The Kansas City Chiefs don't look like they have in the past. The Cincinnati Bengals are damn near out of it because of the Joe Burrow injury. Who the hell knows what's happening with the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud's health? Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers are a MASH unit, all of the injuries that they're dealing with. So, yeah, I think that the Indianapolis Colts are looking around and saying, why not us this year? And so I think with this move, it's twofold. Number one, it is a vote of confidence in Daniel Jones as their long-term quarterback. They are locked into him just because they don't have a lot of flexibility. They don't have a lot of draft capital to do something different at quarterback. But then the other thing that I think is interesting about this move is what they're saying about the bar to clear for this team this year. You don't trade 2 first-round draft picks unless you think your team can get to the championship rounds. So to me, it is AFC championship game or bust for the Indianapolis Colts. If they can't get to the NFL Final Four, then this is a failure in terms of the move they made at the trade deadline for Sauce Gardner.
Well, real quick, Canty, because I call myself the voice of the people on this show because a lot of people see you on TV, they hear your takes, they want to get the little in-depth things you probably can't say on air at ESPN. But I also want to come and ask you some of the things that us as fans, us as viewers, can maybe talk to a player that the people that don't have the circle that I have. I'm happy to know Canty. But for me, I don't think in the NFL 2 first round picks is a lot. And the reason why
Really?
I'm just saying is history has shown that you have more success in the later rounds in the first round in the NFL. Now, if this was the NBA, I would get that. But what you're going to get for Sauce, especially with that Colts defense right now, you have an offense that can keep them off the field for a little while longer. You got a good running game. We'll talk about awards because I think you might have the Offensive Player of the Year and Jonathan Taylor on that team. So for me, if you're all in, and this looks like what it might be. I know that Daniel Jones just did 3 intos more than he did the first 8 weeks, but let's not
Yeah.
talk about that. I don't see 2 first rounds being bad. Now, am I wrong being a fan, or is it just a different perspective?
Well, they'll be late first round picks, right? That's what you're hoping
Yeah.
because the record is what the record is. It's up to the guys in that locker room to make those first round picks that they're giving to the New York Jets as bad as they possibly can be. And currently, that first round pick for 2026 would be the 32nd pick in the first round. So it's a glorified second round pick. So I
Yeah.
get where you're coming from, but it's all contingent on Sauce Gardner getting back to an all pro level.
Yeah.
And the last year and a half, he hasn't been playing that well. Now, I don't know if it's his relationship with Ice Spice or what the hell he got going on, whether the bag of money is slowing him down. It's hard to run fast when you got such a big bag of money in your pocket. Whatever
Hmm.
it is, he's got to get back to the Sauce Gardner that we knew when he came into the league first couple of years when he played at an all pro level. If he is that, then this trade will feel a lot more like the Jalen Ramsey to the LA Rams trade when Los Angeles gave up 2 first rounds in order to get it done. Coincidentally, that was the only trade that involved 2 first round picks for a non quarterback that has won a championship over the last decade of football, right? You had
Hmm.
5 such trades. You had the Jalen Ramsey trade. You had the Laramie Tunsil trade. You had the Khalil Mack trade. You had the Jamal Adams trade. So those are the trades that you're looking at. And you're saying, well, can Sauce have a greater impact than those other guys that didn't win championships? Can it be more like Jalen Ramsey? And the only answer to that is time will tell. This is very much so a play the results type of move.
Now, I'll tell you this: the reason why he's not a dog is he became a munch. But that's a whole nother thing. And the young kids know what I'm talking about. He ain't a dog no more. He just a munch. He got
Yeah.
to stop playing with Ice Spice. I heard they broke up.
I,
Maybe they did. Maybe they
I
didn't.
don't know if they did or they didn't, but I'm just thinking about this though. Think about this. 2 first round draft picks. Micah
Mhm.
Parsons went to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first round draft picks. Yeah, Kenny Clark was a part of that deal. I get that. He's a good player. But Micah Parsons went to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first round picks.
Yeah.
If you're the Indianapolis Colts, you think that Sauce Gardner, adding him to that defense, is going to have that type of impact. That's a hell of a statement.
Yeah, it might not be about the defense. It might just be more about backing up when you finally get on that field because that offense is going to run you to the bank. So no
Okay.
pun intended. So
All right.
let's see how it goes.